Rummaging through his attic one day, noted explorer Phineas Fogg makes a major discovery. An ancient map covered with dust, lost for generations. Displaying it to the members of London's famous Reform Club, Fogg declares, "I've made a major discovery." "Good show, old man," they say, "but what is it?" "The Negev," crows Fogg, "a desert triangle set between three seas, the Red, the Dead, and the Mediterranean. I shall explore it." "But that will take years," says a rival. "Not at all," replies Fogg. "I should say not more than 8 days." "Impossible, there's too much to see, too much ground to cover." "No," says Fogg, "I must go, there is untold treasure." And so, in the manner of gentlemen, a wager is made as Fogg and his faithful companion Passepartout embark on their greatest adventure. And so their journey begins. In the twinkling of an eye, the golden sandstone of the Negev comes into view. A desert rich in contradictions, blooming with life. It is, Fogg notes, a most unusual destination. A destination steeped in culture and tradition. Bedouin tradition, preserved in a unique museum.
Or that one with the sequins over there, that's a beautiful thing.
As we penetrate deeper into the desert, the mysteries of Bedouin life will unfold, enchanting one and all. The journey south from a bird's eye view. Millions of storks, waterfowl, and birds of prey fly the world's most crowded migration route, making the Negev a bird watcher's paradise. Now this calls for a celebration. The second day of our Negev adventure begins with morning ablutions at the lowest place on Earth. The Dead Sea, with its oxygen-rich atmosphere, has a most unusual effect on visitors.
Mammy, how I love you, my dear old Mammy. Oh, how I'd long to be.
Our explorers set sail for further adventures. Remarkable vistas appear in colors that change as the sun traverses the desert sky. At Ein Gedi, another surprise. Sweetwater Springs by the Dead Sea, an oasis that has attracted human settlement since the Stone Age, when man first dwelt in these apartments in the rock face. Here, where young David hid from King Saul, the natives of the Negev let visitors observe their way of life. Male ibex carry on their age-old rivalry in full view of Ein Gedi's human population. But some species, like the rarely seen leopards of the Judean desert, are still better observed from a safe distance. On day 3, everyone joins in the fun. After a short lesson, snaffling is easy. But there are those who remain defiantly unconventional. At day's end, it's time for well-earned rest and relaxation. And where better than the luxury spas along the Dead Sea? Beginning the 4th day of their trek, Fogg and Passepartout slip past an unsuspecting Roman guard. They're up, and away to a rendezvous with history. Masada, the last refuge of Jewish zealots rebelling against the Romans. Faced with defeat, the Jews took their own lives rather than be captured.
One man was selected by Lot out of those 10, and he would kill the other 9, and he would fall on the sword himself.
The Romans are long gone, but this rugged landscape is perfect for active vacations, mountainside jeep journeys, motorcycle rallies along endless dry riverbeds. The Ramon Crater Visitors Center hints at other things to come. The innards of the Earth were laid bare here millions of years ago when the crater was formed. The passes and canyons boast unusual geological formations and a wealth of minerals mined for industry or used just for fun. This journey is an experience for the young at heart.
I hope you're not pregnant.
Crater safaris can last for hours or days, yet this wilderness is just a short trip from Israel's major cities. There's no end of places to see, no end of options or surprises. Like this, a piece of Peru transplanted to the Middle East, a llama and alpaca ranch. These natives of the Andes Mountains are perfectly at home in the desert. They're educational and they're entertaining. But Fog and Passepartout have no time to waste. Only 2 days remain. This one begins with a visit to the Bedouin and an introduction to his traditions. The tent, the coffee, the veiled wife, the flock of goats, and of course, the battery.
Amanda says it's so cool because some president was born today. Oh, I forgot all about that holiday.
Yes, even the people of the desert enjoy keeping up to date, though most Bedouin customs remain intact. On the next leg of our journey, the ascent to Avdat, home to Nabateans, Christians, and Byzantines, Bedouin donkeys provide the transportation.
The automobile was a great improvement over these.
Avdat is one of the finest archaeological sites in the Holy Land, home to ancient civilizations. But there's no time to dally. Phineas Fogg has a schedule to keep. The 7th day of our adventure takes us to Timna Park with its fascinating natural monuments sculpted by wind and sand, and the oldest known copper mines on the planet. The world's copper industry began right here, back in the days of King Solomon. Timna Lake is much newer, created by man just a few years ago. The region teems with wildlife like the nimble ibex. Their sleek beauty inspired ancient man who painted and etched his impressions on Timna's soft sandstone. Wild ox and ostrich, antelope and wild ass, the animals that lived here at the time of the Bible have been brought back at the High Bar Nature Preserve in Yotpata. But it's time to move on. There are so many ways to experience this compact desert, so remote yet so accessible. At Journey's End, Eilat, an oasis of luxury resorts at the edge of the Red Sea. Under constantly sunny skies in crystal clear waters, there's endless action and the urge to let yourself go. But Phineas Fogg remains committed to the scientific study of his surroundings. Yes, Eilat's greatest attractions aren't above the waves, they're hidden below. Red Sea coral reefs support the world's richest assortment of marine life. In Eilat, with its sophisticated aquarium and underwater observatory, the most unusual specimens come into view. Moray eels, friendlier than they appear. clownfish living in harmony with poisonous sea anemones, strange-looking boxfish, and lionfish whose beauty belies their powerful sting. Fogg and Passepartout have seen and discovered it all, and so can you in 8 days, or less, or more. Overwhelmed with pride, our explorers wing their way back to London. At the Reform Club, Fogg collects on his bet. No one will doubt him ever again. The Negev is the friendliest of deserts.